They're questions we'd all like straight answers to. How safe is your personal information online, and how much power should authorities have to monitor it? The Australian government's updating national security laws to make sure intelligence agencies and police can track criminals and terrorists online. But the plan's sparking strong opposition from privacy campaigners. Some have taken extreme measures, hacking into a major internet company to prove their point. Hayden Cooper reports.
It's just after dusk on a school night, and Sydney mother Dana Levy watches on as her two boys wrap up their soccer practice.
Good.
It's an ordinary Tuesday evening, save for one thing. The family's been dragged into a cyber war over national security. Innocent victims of a hacking attack on their former telco provider, AAPT.
Hey, let's go, it's cold.
These are some of the customer names, just thousands of them. And your name is on this list.
Frightening. Really. It really is. It's scary to think that it's so easy.
Thousands of phone numbers, email addresses, even bank accounts of former and current customers have been hacked. Some of that has been exposed for public view. The hackers are the group known as Anonymous. Formed in 2003 to fight internet censorship and surveillance. Their motivation, they say, is to protest against what could be the biggest revamp of Australian national security laws for a decade.
New technology, I think, has changed the way that criminals can plan their attacks, the way they can hide what it is that they're doing, and we want to make sure that the agencies are able to keep up with the activities and techniques that criminals are using.
The current Act needs a complete override, and that's part of this process we're going through at the moment.
For the spies of ASIO and the detectives of the Australian Federal Police, the world of counter-terrorism and crime fighting has changed. The internet is the new battleground, and the craft of surveillance is a lot more complicated than it used to be. Assistant Commissioner Neil Gagan is at the forefront of the effort and leading the push for an update to the law.
Encryption's killing us. Encryption is extremely difficult for us. It's very expensive, very clunky, very slow to decode encrypted internet protocols. What the Act is asking for is that companies be required to provide law enforcement with decoded information so that we don't have to go through that clunkiness.
The changes they want are widespread and significant. They include streamlining the process of obtaining surveillance warrants, extending interception powers to social networking and Skype, forcing people to surrender computer passwords, and allowing authorities to install tracking software on a suspect's computer. As Attorney General, Nicola Roxon must ultimately decide how much power to give.
Well, I think we should always take incredibly seriously any request made from law enforcement agencies, but they also need to be balanced with what is appropriate.
But there's one proposal that generates the most online heat. The idea of forcing internet service providers to track the online movements of every customer and hold that information for 2 years. It's known as data retention, and to the police, it's the holy grail.
All we're asking for is data retention to be across the board. So it's in relation to if you and I emailed each other, not the content of that particular communication, but the context, i.e. when it took place, where we were, when we did it, time, date.
What about browsing history?
Now look, I think that, you know, in a perfect world, that's the sort of thing that we would also be after. But there needs to be some balance here. And you'll note that with the discussion paper, privacy is front and centre.
And that's where the cyber saboteurs of Anonymous have crashed into the debate. We tracked down the activists in an online chat room where they claim their hack into AAPT confirms that internet service providers simply cannot safely store user data.
The size alone from this one incident should make people stand up as to how vast the banks of data collected on individuals and business is.
The data includes details from major government departments, the federal police themselves, even foreign embassies. Anonymous is releasing it to bolster the case against the changes.
It contains personal private data about all the account holders of AAPT, about all the contracts, about all of their staff. This information is extraordinarily sensitive. ISPs can't keep their own corporate sensitive contract information safe. It's madness to believe that they're going to be able to keep everybody's personal data safe as well.
Information security expert Phil Kernick is one who believes data retention is a dangerous idea.
Criminals are looking at ways to make money. We put all of the sensitive information about your internet browsing history together at an ISP. That's a great target for criminals. Imagine that you've done something you're not so proud of at some point in the past. Criminals get hold of this and decide to blackmail you over it.
As for Anonymous, they're threatening to release more of AAPT's data, but whatever they do, they'll be watched.
In a democracy, we don't protest by committing criminal offences, which is basically what these guys have done. You know, I don't believe in the term cyber hacktivism. It's a criminal act. They've stolen information. They've posted it online.
The AFP. Although a victim of the Anonymous hack, Dana Levy understands the point the group is trying to make about the storage of vast reams of data.
It's like an invitation, isn't it?
And now, as the politicians consider the trade-off between national security and personal privacy, she worries about what it means for her.
Details are there, but we do what we can with the banks and with other institutions to keep it as secure as possible. And to think that it's you know, so easily attainable. And then for the government, again, to propose to make it even easier, it's almost preposterous, I'd say. Yeah.
And the Attorney-General stresses no decisions will be made until the issue has been considered by a parliamentary committee.